What is up, people of the internet? My name is Alex and you're watching Major League Nerd. Today we're going to be going through one of the first of the 8 leaked missions from the Grand Tournament Pack. 9th edition is just a week away and we've got 8 out of the 9 Grand Tournament missions leaked. We're going to be going through them. This format is going to be a little bit different. Rather than going through all of them like I did with the secondaries, we're going to go through one at a time just to give you some bite-sized, some like little finger sandwiches of information for 9th edition, getting them prepped and ready for next week as we dive into the competitive tournaments or the competitive missions for the Grand Tournament. So if you're going to a local tournament, if you're going to any tournament really, these are the missions that those tournaments are going to most likely be using. I know some people from, I think, Nova and maybe even ITC have been helping out GW figure these out, plan, test, play, and just get creative behind them. They're very different than our normal missions that we've been used to, the ITC. I think I've said that a few times in the secondary, but I love the direction they're going with this. I love the creativity because it's not your typical stand on something, shoot at something, get points. Cool. This is these require a lot more. Honestly, just a lot more planning. They're not things you're going to be scoring maximum of after 1 or 2 turns, maybe even 2 or 3 in the ITC. These are things that you're going to be having to score through the entirety of the game if you want to get maximum points, whether it is a secondary or a primary. But with that being said, we're going to jump straight into it. We've got our first mission, Scorched Earth. So this one is a typical, classic Warhammer Dawn of War deployment. You're starting 24 inches away from each other. They didn't decrease the distance apart from each other. They just decreased the size of the deployment zones with the new smaller minimum size, which is going to be the tournament normal typically. You're going to be starting still 24 inches away from each other, but you're not going to be able to have as deep as a deployment zone to maybe hide on your back line. You're gonna be missing a few inches from that. But this one, you actually have 6 objectives, which I'm a huge fan of the mission with more objectives. In ITC, some of you only have maybe 3 objectives, 4 objectives. Probably 3, or I think 4 is probably the average back then. But this one, you've got 6. Each person starts with 2 in their deployment zone, and then 2 just 12 inches outside of the deployment zone, about 36 inches from each other. So you've got a decent spread, right? The army's gonna be spread out pretty wide, or maybe you're gonna be castling up into one corner. But then you've also got these objectives spread out pretty far apart, just from the long ways, right? You've got 24 inches from one objective to another in their own deployment zone, then 36 from the center deployment zone, or from the center objectives. With that being said, the new missions rule for this mission, each mission's got some uniqueness to it. Not only is the deployment going to be different and set, not only is the objectives going to be in place, but you're going to have some interesting rules that are going to change up the way you approach each mission. This first one, called Scorched Earth, kind of pushes into this idea of burning Earth. What a surprise. The mission rule is at the start of your movement phase, one unit within range of an objective can destroy it if there are no enemies within range. Player A can only destroy objective B, and player B can only destroy objective A. So you can't destroy your own objectives. Makes sense, right? But at the start of your movement phase, so this isn't at the end of your movement phase. This isn't the, hey, if you jump onto this point, then you destroy it. You're going to have to plan in advance. You're going to have to clear things off of it, then move in, and hope that maybe that 24 inches apart in your opponent's deployment zone, maybe they're not going to have anything that's going to be able to move and get there. Maybe they thought that their units on the objective were going to be more resilient. Whatever that case is, you're gonna have to plan in advance, because this isn't a move there, this is mine. This is a move there, okay, next turn then I'm destroying this. So with that, you've got the primary, which is the basic hold 1, you get 5 points, hold 2, you get 10 points, hold more, you get 15 points with the maximum of 45. Nothing changes there, though you'll see in other missions that there is a bit of a change. From there, you've got the secondary, which goes alongside with the mission rule. The secondary is pretty straightforward. At the end of the battle, if you razed or destroyed one objective, score 6 victory points. If you razed or destroyed 2 objectives, score 12 victory points. So if you guys saw my last video talking about the different secondaries, and we'll go through the Grand Tournament secondaries later, there's mild tweaks and changes for those and a couple new ones. Several of the objectives, of the secondary objectives, you couldn't score max of 15 points on. This is just one of those. though you can score 12, which is pretty decent amount, right? Some of them you can only score, I think, like 5 or 8 or 6. This one's close to that 15 maximum. So this is going to be really good for those armies. Just off the top of my head, I'm thinking those armies like Custodes, where their bikes can charge in your opponent's charge phase. They can get on that objective. They can kill everything because they've got really amazing kill potential. They can charge onto the opponent's objective in your opponent's charge phase. You make people catch off. You may catch people off guard. You may just do some awesome movement shenanigans with that, because if you're charging your opponent's charge phase, then at the start of your movement phase, you'll already be there to destroy that. I'm thinking the Harlequins with their bikes, or just Harlequins just with anything. After a unit fight, they can pay 2 CP. They can immediately move as if they're moving phase, so they can fight if they get charged. They can jump onto one of your opponent's objectives, then destroy one of those. I know Eldar used to have those, but another tidbit of the Grand Tournament is that they're actually removing specialist detachments. So RIP. A lot of some competitive armies really use those specialist detachments. Thinking Astra Militarum, the Possessed Bomb, and one thing I was a huge fan of was the Warlock Conclave or the Seer Council. They had that 2 CP stratagem to fight, then move, which would also be really good in this. But the Harlequins have that. Really, those armies with some out of sequence movement can take advantage of this, because even if you don't take the secondary, right, you can destroy one of your opponent's objectives, which means that they have less in their deployment zone, so they're going to have to maybe move 12 inches to start contesting the middle ones, or start contesting the further ones if they just want to get hold 2, or even hold more, right? If you're able to destroy both of those, man, they're really going to have to move outside of their deployment zone just to get hold 1 or hold 2. So go back to just what the field looks like. Each objective is decently far apart. We've got 24 inches away from each objective in your deployment zone and your opponent's deployment zone, but then you've got 36 inches away from the deployment zone, or sorry, from the objectives in the no man's land. So this mission is going to be really good for those faster armies, those armies that can take board control, and you're going to be seeing a recurring theme of board control being really prevalent in 9th edition. Things with durability, things that can really just take objectives, hold them, because you can now get shot off objectives because you score these things at the start of your command, or sorry, at the end of your command phase, not at the end of your turn. You're gonna really have to be getting on points, holding them. But I guess we'll go back to this. But with this secondary, or with this mission rule, you're gonna have to be at the beginning of your turn, at the beginning of your movement phase. So this requires that much more planning. So I'm really interested to see how this one's going to play out. I think this has a lot of potential to really outplay your opponent if they're not expecting things, if you're just really good in that pile in and charge phase, if you're able to take advantage of those stratagems or rules that allow you to pile in or consolidate. Not necessarily towards the closest model, but just in any direction. Even if you can use those shenanigans to pile in onto this objective, maybe the fight twice stratagem to kill something, pile in, kill the other thing on there, then you're on that objective that is yours. Whatever it is, you can get creative in destroying those objectives, allowing you to start. You're basically denying an entire objective, not even just for that turn, but you're denying an entire objective for that game, forcing your opponent to adapt on the fly, which will make for some really interesting gameplay, in my opinion. So with that being said, guys, told you this is going to be just a little finger sandwich side. This is just really quick, really easy. We're going to be going through the other missions. I'm going to be trying to release multiple videos this week. I'm just going to be, my goal is really to release videos on Saturday, Wednesday, and then sprinkled throughout the rest of the week. I'll just, a little Salt Bay, a little outdated meme there for you of just 9th edition goodness. I hope you guys are as excited as I am. I know there have been a lot of changes. Honestly, just a lot of information coming out with the point changes, the leaks, the spoilers, the everything, everything is basically out now, with the exception of the codexes, and so we're waiting to see what comes next. I think at this point it's really just catching up, getting ready for next week's launch. Let me know in the mission. Let me know in the comment down below, what are you guys thinking about these new missions? I know this is only the first of the 8 that we're going to go through, but what do you think? Is this weird? Do you think it's I think it's fun because it's shaking up how you're going to approach the game, right? We're going to have to think of these things. It's not so much only standing and shooting. We're going to have to get creative in terms of scoring points, and we're going to have to get creative in terms of denying points, because you can shoot people off objectives, and then you can just destroy objectives now, apparently. That's just, granted, that's just unique to this mission itself. But let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. Is this gonna be something you like, or are you a fan of the, hey, I just want to shoot people and stand on objectives and let's call it a day? If you guys like this content, please feel free to hit that thumbs up, subscribe, hit the bell, and if you don't, just let me know. How can I improve this? I'm trying to always get better. I'm new to this, new to the YouTube game, but just trying to really just get that information out there and be part of the Warhammer community. So I'll talk to you guys next time. Yeah, peace out.